Hi, hello everyone. How are you doing? I hope you're having a really nice day. Um, okay, I would like to invite you all to please present yourself in the chat. I mean, you share your name, your country, your university, and also if you want, you can also tell us a little bit about your projects. Well, my name is Dafna Cisneros. I'm from Lima, Peru, and the project I'm developing is Living Cities, and we are working in the SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. So if we, yeah, exactly, we all know that you're joining from different parts of the country. We all are Millennium Fellows from different parts of the world. So it would be amazing if maybe some of you could introduce yourselves and try to share a little bit more about it. Okay, we have Ohalet Gaius, and he's studying mechanical engineering at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Nice to meet you. And we also have Safia from Bangladesh. That's very cool. Nice to meet you. Hello, Sanchi, and from India. Hmm, nice. Well, we have a lot. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you all? Hello, James, Kovaev, Faizad, Tareen. Thank you all, guys, for sharing all about yourselves and presenting. You can continue to do so. It's okay. And well, now we have our very important guest today. And his name is Mike. Mike Harb is a Lebanese social entrepreneur and AI EdTech founder, currently leading Ovlu, a startup that uses artificial intelligence and gamified learning to help students build stronger study abilities and improve academic performance. Before Olu, Mike worked directly with youth in Lebanon, co-creating 3D gamified education programs for public schools and marginalized communities pilots that contributed to measurable improvements in student grades and engagement. As an impact driven founder, he has also taken part in international acceleration and entrepreneurship programs, using those spaces to refine his vision of tech that is both innovative and socially meaningful. His journey from experimenting with gamified learning locally to build AI powered tools with global potential reminds us that education technology can be deeply human centered. His journey inspires us to design solutions that are playful, inclusive, and built for real impact on learners' lives. Uh, okay, and it's so nice to have you here, Mike. Thank you for joining us, and the floor is
Hi.
yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I see we have a lot of people from a lot of countries. Um, Maybe if we had statistics, we can see like the different countries and the different numbers. But yeah, so let me share my screen and let me tell you what I'm going to present today. So it's just 15 slides. I know everyone hates slides, but I mean, it's nice for structure. Um, I did something interesting here. So I used Notebook LM because some people will be asking, how did you do the slides? So Notebook LM by Google, I told it the story that I want to tell today. And I know you guys probably are, I guess, Gen Z, if I got the age right. So, it's gamified, it's colorful, and hopefully you like it. I mean, I was very impressed. So, it's a nice presentation, I guess, considering AI made it. So, who am I? So, I studied mechanical engineering at AUB. Uh, apparently by the AI's choice. I'm curious, I'm a problem solver, and I love education. Um, I went into edtech during COVID. There was a lot of problems to solve during COVID. I mean, we can all acknowledge how interesting it was. Awful, but interesting for people who want to make it better. So I started my journey in 2020 when I wanted to build a platform for online exams. I saw the first problem that people were suffering, and it was crazy. It was chaotic, and I mean, it was interesting enough to work on, right? And I worked on it for like 2 years, but I was more focused on going into the details of solving the issue, but not really thinking big. Like, is this the issue? I picked one solution, software. Let me do it. Let me work on it. I got some developers, and we started that journey for like 2 years. We got into accelerators similar to this. Like, we also went into a social entrepreneurship program where we learned the basics, and that was actually the first program we started with. So it's a good position to like go into everything because you learn the ABCs and you don't forget about the SDGs and the impact that you're trying to do. Eventually, I like universities didn't want to do online exams anymore, and students were still cheating, and it was just the wrong problem to solve. As we all know, exams are technically dying. So that's when I pivoted. I lost my developers and I started coding myself. And that's when I became curious about video games and educational video games. I'm actually going to show you an example. Let me share my screen with some video, share sound. Okay. So here's what I did. I did a small game, math game for like grade six about fractions. Let me know if you hear it. Just give me any signal.
Hey, little buddy, what's the matter?
I need your help. Mechanical creatures are hunting the animals and the trees.
What should I do now?
Once you have the ingredients, you can craft a potion to heal an animal. You have to craft the right mixture, or else it won't work. I trust in you, traveler. Good luck.
Lucky me.
Now you need to start defeating the robots.
Of course, there are robots to make it interesting. Okay, now it's lagging a bit, but yeah. And you have the red plants, and I just wanted to show the boss at the end.
It was a piece of cake.
The final robot, he is different.
There was a big robot at the end with like 10 levels, and every time the sequence would change, etc. So it was very nice to make, honestly. It took me like 2 months, and I learned everything about coding and making video games. The project didn't go anywhere though. So it's just a video that I show after a few years about something I did, and I I completely changed my path. I needed to get into a job because I was doing that like since 2019, doing startups until 2023. By 2023, I got into consulting, management consulting. It's a very big job here in the GCC region. It's one of the highest paying jobs. And, I sold my soul, so it's fine to make PowerPoints. I stayed there for like 2 years, year and a half almost, just traveling and working with clients. Now, that was nice because I thought I had this imposter syndrome from working by myself without any validation in the startup scene or social entrepreneurship scene. You work on a problem, you put so much effort, but since it doesn't go anywhere because you're not inside of a system, you kind of start doubting yourself. And this is when I went into this job, and there I realized that, hey, maybe I'm not an imposter. Maybe, there actually is some truth to what I was trying to do, because this job was all about making PowerPoints and explaining stuff to people. So it's kind of research education. It's a cool job. And there I realized that people are impressed with what I do, and maybe I can go back. Like, maybe I don't need to be perfect. Maybe it was just about doing like a bit of everything, just and not just thinking about one thing and losing everything. And this is what's hard about entrepreneurship, because you get so focused on one piece you think if it doesn't work out, then you did something wrong. But the problem is you just played with one piece and you had to be more flexible. So then at the beginning of this year, actually, I quit my job 2025, end of 2024, after like the war in Lebanon ended. Uh, I saw AI was taking a boom and I just wanted to learn. So this is one reason why I quit actually, because I felt I was like kind of being behind of all of the transformation that's happening in AI. And so I bought a lot of subscription tools at the beginning of the year. I started just testing all of the tools that you hear about to see what does what and what's the difference and just have my own constructivist understanding of it. And eventually it got me somewhere. I started making content on social media and I communicated with with my university, American University of Beirut, and I started giving my AI course there. Uh, so yeah, that was my first entry point to impact. I started sharing what I learned at the beginning of the year, 6 months after like I've mastered it or not mastered it, but I just to the point where I can teach it to someone. And I realized that since I've worked all of these different fields like video games and tech and a bit of consulting, I even worked AI in medicine at some point. It's it. I always thought that since I'm not a specialist in one thing, that it's gonna kind of set me back. But the more I continue in my journey, the more I realize it's good to be interdisciplinary. And usually entrepreneurs are like that. They wear different hats and they don't get to be like this researcher on one specific field and doing just one thing. They usually connect the dots. And I think this is getting more important because you get to see stuff that other people don't. And I want to share, like, in my whole experience, what are the lessons. And of course, when I show you every lesson, I'm going to relate it back to something. So, of course, beware the perfectionist trap. I tend to get into analysis paralysis. I start analyzing a problem, just going to first principles, writing it on a board, and thinking, how do I solve it? This is very important, and a lot of accelerators do this. Root cause analysis, very important because you do need to understand the problem that you're solving uh, properly. The issue is you don't have the mental capability to do all of it on a board because it's experiential. A lot of things, we're young, right? We haven't experienced most of these problems we're working on or the industries. And we get caught up in our ideas and idea, and especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're a perfectionist, you tend to like shiny stuff. And this shiny mentality might get you in the wrong ideas that you don't have enough insight to debug and you'd work on the wrong this is how people work on the wrong problems, by the way. It's because they choose these problems and they negate the other stuff or they just don't know the other stuff and they end up doing the wrong thing. It's a lack of information. And this is why you should do something. It's you have to take action, you have to think, but the since we're already delusional, all you have to do is just take like smaller steps to break the delusion. So, for example, beginning of this month, I was building a platform to teach people my AI courses, but online. 2 weeks into engineering the platform and just thinking about it and engineering it and whatever, I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm gonna do the next Coursera, but I don't still have the content. And that's when, I had this mental loop to, okay, let's take action. Boom, plan failed. I was working 2 weeks on the wrong thing at the wrong time. And this is why I think you have to kind of balance between these two things. You have to have this really good internal processing, but the problem is you're going to disconnect from the real world, right? An entrepreneur is a visionary. He's delusional by nature. He sees things that don't exist. But the problem is, if you tend to see a lot of stuff that don't exist, the world you're imagining won't exist. So you need to ground yourself with senses. You need to connect to people, right? People who understand the industry, and just always remember your mission. It's very important to have a mission. If you're like a lot of people will ask you, why are you doing this? And if it's just because it's nice to you or looks nice or it feels nice or your parents might like if you work in this, it's not going to work. That's not a mission. It has to really come from the inside. And this takes a while to understand. Usually life will give you hints, bits and pieces from the different stuff that you do, and you have to find the intersection. Uh, the more you add, that's why you need to make mistakes, because the more you jump from job and opportunity, the more you're gonna have these clues onto what is the thing that you want to do. And I think this helped me a lot, like in kind of zoning down, like converging into what I need to do. And you need to anchor yourself to a problem, right? A lot of us like now like to open ChatGPT and tell it, give me 5 problems to solve in education or 5 problems to solve in healthcare. I mean, like it's very logical to do that, right? It's data that's there. But I think it's more than just researching. Researching is very important, but you have to have like some sort of insight, some sort of experience to understand the problem. Because then you're going to do the same mistake of going on the whiteboard and just hallucinating with ChatGPT. And I did that a lot this year. Like I'm telling you, because I spent time with AI thinking about problems and going into rabbit holes that don't exist. So people are your best uh, help in the startup world. Speaking of people, you need teammates. You can't do this alone. You can do part of it, at least the part where you work on yourself, which is good enough. And I understand, like trusting people with like long-term commitment work like this is hard. And this is why you need to start meeting these people, be an open person. I on LinkedIn, for example, I like to comment on a lot of posts and talk to other people and just share ideas, because I think it's by expressing who you are and what you want, you will attract kind of those people, and maybe one of them will become a co-founder some way. Um, and it's very important to listen to people. I had a very hard time listening. I know the quote, like listening is different than listening to understand or listening to respond, but I didn't really understand the quote back then. So when you listen to someone, especially that's if your co-founder or whatever, he's giving you advice or his thoughts. Usually, I tended to be very dismissive, or I kind of take the information that I want to take from the message. But it's an active process of really trying to let go of your ego and try to listen as if you're a blank slate, the way ChatGPT does. So focusing on, I think we have a lot to learn from ChatGPT's egolessness, I guess. And it's very also like, since we're talking about people, because it's a people's game at the end of the day, it's social entrepreneurship. Uh, there's a lot of negative emotions that would come. You would get jealous sometimes because some people are making progress in their startup idea, and you that is a bad emotion for you, not for the other person. I mean, it's a human emotion, but it's detrimental to you. It's very important to reflect. I think at the bottom of jealousy, there's a lesson. I think jealousy is probably like stubbornness that once overcome is a lesson on how you should do your startup, or the issue that you're facing that you need to like solve, that they are solving. And you shouldn't compare. Like every idea is different, every opportunity is different, the path is different. Especially now, the economies are changing drastically. Like it's not gonna be how it was the last 60 years, let's say. So you cannot compare to someone who's like 5 years older, who's gone through a different path in the startup career. Now it's completely different. Now you can build prototypes in a minute, in seconds. It's a different game. So it's very important to kind of understand that. Um, and it's very important to not engineer a life that guarantees burnout. You should do art, you should play music, you should be playful and get to explore the other parts of you that are not solving the social entrepreneurship problem, because there's still you, right? If you focus too much on the social entrepreneur, you're gonna forget the mission, because why are you helping other people when you're not helping yourself? It's like basic human survival stuff. So a lot of people forget about this. They get so caught up with the shiny stuff, they burn out. I mean, I burn out. This session was supposed to be like probably 1 week ago or something. It happens all the time, right? We learn and we change, but it's very important to know about the burnout thing. And what are the best skills you can focus on? I think there's like two. One is like get really deep into AI, uh, understand it, how it's progressing, how it works, because AI will help you learn all of the technical stuff. Like you can just open ChatGPT, a call, why, boom, you know what you need to know. Usually that took you a month of asking people and finding books and not people not responding. So that's really fast. And two, you have to understand humans, right? Since it's social entrepreneurship, emotional intelligence, cognitive, how thinking about your thoughts, because brainstorming will require that. It will require you to check into your cognitive biases and see if you're actually thinking right or you're following the shiny stuff. So I think these are the two things that would make. I don't have a better example here. It's like what Nietzsche calls the Übermensch, even though the Übermensch doesn't have like the societal values, but something more positive than that. Um, you should be like water. You should adapt to the people, environments, and obstacles. Again, because everything is changing. It's very hard to predict anything. It's very hard to predict how people will react, the places, the environment where your startup is, or technology is built, how it will react, and the obstacles you will face. You have to be patient. So if something doesn't work, uh, you should find a different way to do it. Usually, it's a message. I think it's very like if you look, but every one of you, I think, will remember in a few years later, after you continue through your entrepreneurship path, you're gonna realize that whatever didn't work today or tomorrow in the next year, at some point it will make sense because it's all connected, and you have to have this poetic view, lookout or perspective so that you may understand why is happening what is happening, and so that you may adapt quickly to the new opportunities that they're going to come, and they are going to come. There will always be new opportunity, and specifically there will always be a path forward. This is perseverance. Like I had so many times where I thought like it's super closed, but literally we mathematically we're like in a space where there are infinite solutions, and there's no the probability of you not landing on one of these solutions is zero. The probability that it is what you think it is also probably small. So it's about just being flexible and like maneuvering until you find this path, and it will come. And I'm gonna like end my presentation with this. So you have to always remember that there is a path. You have to always stay curious. The most important thing an entrepreneur is learning. You learn from your problems. It's continuous learning, and if you don't like learning, it's impossible. You have to. Uh, because adapting is learning a new path, right? You have to always stay grounded and stay human by talking to other humans and knowing what their problem is and focusing on solving it. So this is my part of the presentation, just small, I guess. And now it's like any questions, and I can answer whatever you want.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mark. I think we all are learning so much for you already. And now, remember, Millennium Fellows, that you can always send your questions through the chat, and then we can read them a little bit later. And now, to know a little bit more about your experience in the field, I would like to ask you, as you work with artificial intelligence, in your opinion, how can you change makers incorporate such technology in their social impact projects? Where does AI fit into social impact and entrepreneurship?
Okay. Um, so one way you can so I think let's decompose it into two parts or maybe three parts. One is identifying the solution. AI helps in identifying the solution. You should talk to it, ask it, hey, this person has this problem. Research what you know about it, research what other people have done about it, right? These are all things you can do, the research part. Two, once you decide on how you wish to solve the problem, if it's software or it's hardware, I think there's always a piece where AI can help you build an MVP, a minimal viable product, so that you may show your product to people. And I think if you work in tech, then AI is most probably going to be a way. If it's hardware, I mean, I think AI can also help in a few stuff on hardware, maybe not as much. But yeah, it will help you in building whatever you're trying to build. And three, maybe what you're trying to build is actually AI as well. So there's like inception. It's another layer. Maybe you want to give a chatbot to people that answers certain problems. So you can either use it or you can build it and automations and stuff. But of course, you shouldn't squeeze AI where it shouldn't be squeezed. I think this is one of the shiny things that most people are doing in the world. You need to solve the problem the same way you solved it before. There's a framework, you need to follow it. Eventually, if you find out that AI it meets the criteria of not being risky and whatever, then yeah, it could be the solution, but it shouldn't be. It should only come out as a conclusion of your analysis.
Thank you. It's a very interesting answer, actually. And what inspired you to start Oblu? And what goal are you trying to achieve with it?
So, Aulu, from the owl, it's a curious animal. So we have a problem, which is people want to learn AI, right? The economy is changing. Everyone needs to learn AI. Other people don't know how to use ChatGPT, and people don't know how to use automation. So it's a spectrum of skills. I'm in Aulu, I'm trying to do it both B2C and B2B. B2C means I'm trying to build courses my way for people to understand how to use AI. And my way is like understanding tech and business, so I can give like my own unique perspective. I'm currently, this is not online, this is physical. I'm doing it at the university where I'm testing my courses. Two, for the businesses actually need consulting and like you can't just train them. It's a whole process of stuff you need to help them with. And I'm actually working on a software solution to help businesses incorporate AI to kind of map out their strategy and see what are their processes and kind of really understand how to redesign the whole company because company at the end of the day is data. If you can model it, any company can be modeled as data, diagrams of data and processes. So I'm trying to model that so that I can give recommendations to companies on what processes to kill, what processes to replace with AI. So it's an offering that I'm working on right now.
Wow, that sounds very, very interesting, actually. Millennium Fellows, we want to remind you that you can always ask questions and you can leave it on the chat. And Mark, I would like to ask you, well, you are an AI EdTech startup founder, and you have previously said that modern day education is becoming as boring as it can get. How do you see AI changing that, and what potential solutions can be used to make learning exciting?
So one example is this presentation. Imagine if every teacher had this prompt or even better prompts for so many topics. That's the first change. There's the podcasts that you can listen to, there's the videos that you can make. I think education is changing a lot. You can now make video games as well, not just videos, video games. They're not as complex. You still need a lot of logic, and that's because video games you need to have like a visual where you can move the objects before the game starts. It's different than a regular software. So I don't know if they would solve this, but either way, you have so many tools that are changing education, and universities enrollment rates are dropping statistically. So I think like the world is changing. People are not seeing the value in studying all of these very accessible topics, especially if it's like undergraduate courses in a university. You can study all of it alone. Probably for some courses you had very bad professors and you did that. So that just proves that, I mean, the books were enough. Now we have much more than books. So I think the world would change. And this is part of how everything is moving.
Yeah, maybe like rethinking the education and trying
Yeah.
to bring it to the 21st century and what we
Yeah.
have right now,
Yeah.
basically.
You have websites now like Oboe, Oboe, I think. It's like you go in, you say what you want to learn, and it creates a course for you. You can learn anything. It can be very specific. It's not anymore academic, like I want to learn calculus. No, it's I want to learn how do I make the best sandwich for, I don't know, for this guy. Like you can solve actual very dedicated startup problems. Think about it. Um, just I don't think we're gonna look at education the same way physics, math. You will care only about the small chunks that you have to go through. So yeah,
Yeah, well, that sounds a really good site. I'm gonna search it later, probably. Well, as we have many Millennium Fellows interested in technology and because of their projects, and also AI solutions here today, what are the best ways to foster a culture of innovation within a project, a team, or organization, for example?
I think the whole team should be using ChatGPT or Gemini. Gemini is better. So in the research part, you need to be using it obsessively and constantly. You should also share with each other. Like if you're a team, now you have the option in ChatGPT to go into a chat together and brainstorm together with the AI. So maybe that helps because if someone says something stupid, the other guy says, "Hey, wait, you and the AI are hallucinating," and you kind of ground them. So it's a good exercise. I think this product will get even more complicated, but I think it's heading in the right direction. So yeah, just use AI tools, collaborate. Maybe communicate, tell the AI your plan, and ask it to be critical. So this is very important. You have to give it the right direction and then talk, so that you don't kind of make it side with you. You want it to be objective.
Yeah, exactly. That is very important. So you have like a
Yeah,
really good information, like good
yeah,
quality, because they can give you whatever they want, but no, it has to be
yeah,
quality.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, don't forget you can always ask your questions and you can leave it on the chat. Just a little reminder. And okay, with the very slow or almost stagnant educational systems development, how do you see the use of technology advancing it instead? What ways make technology educational?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. With the very slow or almost stagnant educational systems development, how do you see the use of technology advancing it instead? What ways make technology educational?
So, like the how is technology replacing the existing education? Yeah, okay. So, like it's like the startup that I mentioned right now. The reason, by the way, I burned out was because I'm building an edtech solution in a space where there are so many edtech solutions with AI. So I think this is the answer. Like everyone is fed up. Everyone sees the opportunity. You have people who are building video creator courses using a prompt. So you type in what you want to learn and it gives you a video. OB gives you like more like audio and a mixture. Here it's just for video and diagrams. Um, I think like a lot of startups are just trying different things for different topics, finding different niches. So it's happening. This is what's happening. It's democratizing education content. The only issue is these don't have accreditation. They don't get you a degree. Um, but I've also heard from statistics that degrees are getting less and less important to like job hirers. They don't care about degree as long as you have the skill. But then again, people are cheating on the skills and the courses with AI. So then you need to assess them. So I think now you have these two parts. There's the part of education where, okay, produce content in a way that's fun. And this is where you have all of these videos, audio, games, whatever. It's just content that is given in a nice way to someone. This is what I call the first industry. The second industry of education and technology is assessment. Okay, how do you know that this person knows to do X, to do Y? Well, he's gonna cheat with AI. So it's a very tricky problem. It's not fluffy and colorful like the first one, where it's more like let's make content for people. No, here it's messy because you're trying to assess people. It's exams in a different way, and maybe more projects. So yeah, it's like in these two spaces. I think the first space is more crowded. The second space is harder to solve, so less crowded. So yeah, it's a mixture of both. This is what's happening right now.
Wow, that is very interesting. It's a really interesting perspective, actually. Well, now we are opening the Q&A questions for the Millennium Fellows, and
Mhm.
we have a question from Mefor. He says, "Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Please, my question is, how can you overcome challenges like lack of consistency as an entrepreneur? There are days you'll not feel like working. How can you learn to scale through criticism as an entrepreneurship?" Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the part that I mentioned about burning out. Everyone burns out. Your days are not going to be consistent. There are some days where you're not going to do that much work, or you want to do much work, but you couldn't because of the circumstances. Because maybe now you don't know what to work on and you're pivoting. When you're pivoting, by the way, automatically there's like at least a week where you're not very productive or like zero productivity. Because think about it. Um, you have a vision in your head and you're trying to follow it, and this vision is changing daily. It's very hard for your brain chemically to adapt to a new vision very quickly, especially like if you because this is why speed is important in entrepreneurship. Because if you had 20 years, anyone can do it because you just take a month break or like 2 month break every time you have a problem, and then it will take you too much time. uh, those days where you don't want to do anything, they are normal. They are part of this cycle, ups and downs, right? You go up, you find an issue, then you go down. Do you remember this curve about entrepreneurship, or like you have this peak of optimism, a false optimism, and then you go down, and then you go up, and then you go. This is the same thing. It's like converging. When I said there's ups and downs, and on the contrary, if you have like if they switch like every 2 3 days, that means you're doing a lot of this, which is good because then this is the pivot. So you are allowed to have them; they're normal. Just make sure that they're not too extended, or else you have to understand like what's the actual reason. Because usually an entrepreneur, he will go down and then you're gonna hit rock bottom, and then you're gonna find one insight that will say, okay, but what about this? And then you're gonna get all of the motivation back to push into the next plan. So uh, yeah, I think if you notice this, if you notice that you have this pattern, then it's just about going with what you already do and not listening to what other people say, because that's the process.
Yeah, that's very important. Okay, we have another question from Anna. She says, tools in the AI industry are evolving so quickly. How would you advise students to stay informed and build relevant AI skills in this constantly changing scenario?
You need to understand AI at a deeper level so that when you read the news about the different tools, you don't get overwhelmed. So as you know, most of the AI tools in Gen AI, I'm talking. So you have Gen AI and you have the regular discriminatory AI where you put numbers in, it gives you numbers out. This already exists. This has always existed. And since it always existed, I don't think it will make much of a difference now to like understand even deeper. But for the Gen AI part, you need to understand the capabilities of AI. You need to like, of course, no one except the researchers know to a very, very deep level. But you have to work with it on a daily basis. You have to kind of follow on Instagram. You have so many sources where you have these new tools. And remember that the industry has hype. It is meant to make you feel as if everything is the next big thing, and the honestly, for the last, I don't know how many months, everything is kind of just a better version of what is actually today. So it's not overwhelming anymore once you have the big picture. It's like AI that does images, text, and code, and there are people that who are building on top of those foundational models. And maybe when you do your startup, you're gonna kind of understand that it's all just features on top of what already exists, and just follow the Instagram pages, and then it will be very lightweight to see what's happening.
Oh, thanks. Okay, we have another question. How do you remain ethical as an entrepreneur with the AI realm industry? Oh,
With the AI what?
with the AI industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how, what's an example of being unethical with the AI industry? Should I think about an example?
I guess you can, for example. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know.
Like in general, when would you be unethical as an entrepreneur? Because it doesn't matter which industry. It's more of a personal thing of the entrepreneur in question. Um, Non-ethical means that you're doing whatever you need to do to make money without caring about the people. And I think if your path actually started with an actual honest to God mission, actual feelings, actual vision, then I don't think the uh, the series of events will allow you to have that choice because you started off good. It won't become bad. You'd rather fail and you'll probably get the failure. So you're not going to succeed as an unethical entrepreneur. That's it, basically, unless you were unethical to begin with, in which case, I don't know. Like, there are people who are like this. I mean, you have entrepreneurs who have lied about their technology. There's this girl who, if you remember, she said, I created this blood sampling technique that would detect all of your diseases, and it turns out to be a scam, and she got billions of dollars. You have now in the AI industry people who are inflating the valuation of their companies and lying about their technology. So I think this is how people are lying. They're lying what their AI does or doesn't, basically, because they want money, because there's a lot of money. So, but it doesn't work. That's the thing. How do you control it? By not being greedy, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's like all on us also.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Abhijit. What do you think the software job market would be like in a post AI world? Which domains would be the most drastically affected? How can we advise our peers effectively on the changing job market?
So there's a report actually. You can research the reports that are coming out. Of course, look at the recent reports because every time they do a report, then they learn stuff and then they change. But engineers and programmers are needed. I mean, AI writes good code, average. When it's small, the bigger it gets, the more mistakes there are, and um, you can't build a finished product with AI. You can build something that looks finished, feels to you finished because you're not a programmer, but it's not production ready. So let's say I want to make a software and I want to give it to universities so that they may do their exams. If I did it on a tool like lovable.dev, so this is a tool, by the way, you can use to build your prototypes, lovable.dev, you can just code and through English and it will create the features and everything. It's pretty nice. And it's a working prototype. It's a very good website. The problem is when something goes wrong, you're gonna tell it to fix it, and then the second time it goes wrong, you're gonna tell it to fix it. But then, are you really fixing the underlying problem, or are you just fixing the feature or the thing? And I think this is why you need the developers because you need kind of this higher level that understands all of that. For now, LLMs do not understand code logically like how humans do. They see the patterns in how the code is written, very different. If they create a new technology, we're doomed. But until then, I think like no, there is need for developers. Like you've talked to ChatGPT, honestly, from a year till now, he's technically the same intelligence. I mean, he writes better or something, but at the end of the day, like emotionally, it's like the same intelligence that you're talking to. He won't uncover problems that you have or something. You don't feel the presence of someone intelligent. You feel just a robot, and it's still the same. So until that changes, you're still gonna need developers. you're gonna need anything that has to clean up after the AI, technically. So yeah.
Hmm, yeah, that's true. We have another question from Aisha. What is one piece of advice you wish you had when you started your journey?
I think all of the things I mentioned. These
Yeah,
are all the pieces of advice. But yeah, I think the piece of advice that will waste you the most time, if you don't use it, of course, is solving the wrong problem. So you have to really focus and always ask yourself, am I solving the right problem? Am I solving the right problem? Uh, when you know, you will know. And maybe when you know, you don't want to forget it anymore. So I don't know how it goes. But either way, you have to be kind of very skeptical about your direction. Uh, because, I mean, at least for people like me, I don't know, maybe this is a psychological thing and people are different. But I see it a lot in entrepreneurs, honestly, especially when they're young. They go for ideas that probably they skipped a few steps in the process. And just know that you're probably skipping a few steps, and and you're gonna learn what these steps are by failing. So yeah, don't be afraid to fail. Um, but yeah, I didn't care about failure, so I mean, it's a good advice. Of course, like number zero is don't care about failure because you're gonna fail a lot.
thank you so much, Mike. Uh, we have I think we have one hand raised. It's from Sunday Emmanuel. I don't know if you would like to open your microphone and talk.
Yes, thank you very much.
Hi.
Thank you very much, Mike, for the great elaborations. My name is Sunday Emmanuel. I'm from Makerere University, based here in Kampala, Uganda. Me, I just ask a brief question. Okay, the project that I currently run is called Makerere Techno Society. We basically engage students in tech-driven projects and often seek partnerships with companies to bring meaningful learning opportunities within the campus. However, one challenge I have faced is that many AI-focused initiatives and external engagements tend to be heavily theoretical, with lots of
Mm,
conversations but limited hands-on practical implementations for students. This results into a gap between awareness and actual skill building on the ground.
yeah.
Yeah, so my question is, given your experience building Olu as an AI-powered educational platform, how can institutions and student-led communities like the Makerere Techno Society design partnerships with tech companies that go beyond discussions and deliver practical hands-on innovations experiences for students, especially in contexts where resources are limited, but the need for real-world applications is high? Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, nice question. Hi, Sunday. I think it's a problem that we even suffer from here and in other places. Since I teach at the university, I've been approached just because the people who are making the courses are giving it too theoretical or they're not finding a practical solutions. It's because like they haven't used it in their jobs so that they can tell other people how to use it. So I don't know the advice on companies. I guess you have to check their curricula to see if it's actually hands-on or not. But how do you make it hands-on? I'll give you that answer. That would be more helpful so that you can kind of design the actual workshop. You have to start from problems. Like especially when you want people to design AI solutions, you have to find problems. And in this hackathon style project or experience, this is where people would be using AI, using it to prompt, using it to build automation, using it to build a custom GPT so that it's a chatbot or an agent. So um, I think that it's straightforward to make people use the tools. They exist, right? We can just go right now to ChatGPT and I can give you a few prompts for you to use them. Like, hey, give me your idea and use AI to write you a LinkedIn post. This is something that people should learn. So you could do this to other stuff, and eventually, I think you can easily generate a nice workshop, hands-on workshop for people. And of course, you need to add the theoretical part. You just need to know how to layer it at the right amount and the right places so that you don't lose their attention and they're kind of just enough, just in time education is what it's called. Did I answer your question, by the way?
Well, I think you perfectly did, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. We have another question. Okay, often those starting AI projects are faced with marginalized communities that aren't familiar with technology, and so they find themselves convincing communities of its importance. If you had to explain to a community leader with no tech background why AI matters for social change, what would you say in one or two sentences?
I mean, it's more important than the internet. So if they use the internet, then if they don't use the internet, then probably need to go a few steps back. But if they use the internet, then I mean, it's like the internet at your fingertips. You can get any piece of information and advice. You can use it in everything. Uh, any community at every level, at every household, at every service. Um, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I really hope that helped. I thank you so much all for your questions, and but now we have to go through the wrap up part. So I would like to invite you, Mark, for some final words, like a final remark from you to the Millennium Fellows here.
Okay. Um, so I mean, it was a good hour. I enjoyed talking to you guys. And I hope like what I shared resonated with some of you. Some advice might work from some entrepreneurs because again, every journey is different. But I think I put it at the level where like kind of everyone can see the, some you might have some problems that I don't have, and vice versa. So it's about just being curious and open to new experience and being able to learn. Uh, you have to kind of uh, stick to the people you know, the communities that you have, and just enjoy what you're doing because I mean it's fun at the end of the day. You're solving a problem. It's fun. It's adventurous. You might create stuff. You might help people. So yeah, I think if you know that, remember it's fun. Everything else comes after. And I want like if you want, you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I post a lot there, so maybe if there's something I didn't answer today, I could answer it in a post someday because I always like post stuff. So I'm gonna put my LinkedIn in the chat if you want to add me. It's actually my name, so yeah, just
Thank you so much. Well, as you heard, you can Millennium Fellows, you can always connect with Mike through LinkedIn and ask him more questions if you want to. Okay, well, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing this time with us and for sharing also your experience. And well, don't forget, guys, that there's like a Saturday networking and upskilling hour, November 29th, and at 10 a.m. East time. And join us for the final Saturday networking and upskilling hour on partnership and progress. And also, the project report and social impact tour submissions are open, and the deadline has been extended to November 30th uh, until 11:59 Eastern time. Also, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
thank you everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
You too.